Hello everyone, I am Liuli. If you have the chance to see these words, it means there is a great fate between you and me. My teacher is an onmyoji. All of this comes from his oral account, and what follows is narrated in his first person. Alright, let's get started. Welcome to the world of onmyoji. I'm an onmyoji, so the content we will touch on next involves changing fate, karmic debt, salvation, talismans, karma, gods, Buddhas, immortals, ghosts, and other things unknown to the ordinary person. Many people don't even know what an onmyoji does, and I will clarify this matter later. Many people ask what exactly is fate, and whether it can be discussed in detail. On what basis can we change someone's destiny? So, the most important thing here is to clarify this matter of fate. What is a good fate, and what is a bad one? How can a bad fate be changed? Why is this method effective? What is your principle, and what do you rely on? Here I will make this clear, to help everyone understand what destiny is, what fate is. The matter of fate is actually quite simple. Just as the human body can fall ill, so too can one's fate. The body falls ill because it has been harmed. So what about fate? It's because your destiny has been harmed, but fate is quite different from the body. Fate is affected by the karma spoken of in Buddhism. If you plant good seeds, you naturally reap good fruits. If you sow evil, you are bound to suffer disaster and punishment, just like seeing a doctor. At this time, everyone will ask, what exactly is the difference between a fortune teller and an onmyoji? This is easier to explain. A fortune teller is only responsible for calculating your issues. Not to say whether he is accurate or not, at least he can check some of your karma. Your causes of problems, that is what fortune telling is supposed to do. But it's really hard for a fortune teller to change a person's fate. If the impact on your destiny is just from behavior or thoughts, then changing according to the fortune teller's advice can indeed alter your fate. But in our lives, so many things really aren't about us making choices. It seems like we're making choices, but actually, everything has been predestined. At that time, at that place, the choice you make is almost the only one. And this only choice isn't necessarily correct, or to say, beneficial to you. So, the most important point for a fate master is like a hospital doctor who not only diagnoses your condition but also treats you. Whether it's physical therapy, medication, exercise, injections, anti-inflammatory treatment, antibacterial treatment, etc. Of course, you can't expect a doctor, after seeing your condition, to cure you on the spot without treatment. That's impossible. You still need to undergo a series of cooperative treatments. And this process of cooperation is our process of changing fate. How do we treat it? We have many treatment methods, such as using talismans, repaying karmic debts, salvation, and practicing certain scriptures and texts at fixed times, all of which are part of our medication treatment. After the hospital uses medicine and performs surgery, a follow-up is still needed. You can't just naively take medicine without a follow-up check. Otherwise, you won't know whether the disease has been cured. The same goes for an onmyoji. Whether the karmic debt has been repaid, whether the salvation has taken effect, whether the talismans are effective, etc. All these follow-up works are also within the scope of an onmyoji's services. Actually, the biggest difference between an onmyoji and a fortune teller is that most fortune tellers, like some doctors, only diagnose the condition, not prescribing or treating. What about an onmyoji? An onmyoji is more comprehensive. First, you must be able to diagnose, then prescribe, treat, and finally follow up and verify the results. So, the people who understand destiny best in this world should be said to be onmyojis. Because we deal with people's destinies every day and are always changing others' destinies. Because if you're just simply fortune telling, what can you do? It's to inform others of their destinies, but what if someone's destiny isn't so wonderful? What do you do then? You must use extraordinary methods to change it. And this process of change is the most baffling part of fate for everyone. Actually, the main reason why everyone doesn't understand fate is that this plane of existence has no intention of letting ordinary people understand what fate really is. In my time as an onmyoji, I've seen too much things that are difficult for us ordinary people to understand. And I've seen too many scenes described in Buddhism or Taoism that greatly contradict the reality we encounter in our physical space. If everyone saw or experienced what I have, everyone could understand. But heaven hasn't allowed you to see more of the real thing. This is probably fate. Why did Buddha introduce the concept of the 6 realms of reincarnation to the human world? And what is the most important purpose of introducing the concept of karma into the human world? It is hoped that all people can step out of our common sense as humans to observe, understand, and realize the true way of heaven, to recognize what this layer of space we live in has, and what our destiny really is. Because only when you see enough can you see clearly enough. I'm just communicating with everyone here, talking about what I've seen, understood, and encountered in real situations, hoping to help everyone. As for what everyone ultimately realizes, that's each person's own fate. What I say may not necessarily be correct. I'm just an extension of everyone's eyes and ears, because I will tell you what I've seen and known. How everyone thinks about, realizes, and recognizes the true matter of destiny is up to each individual, because I believe people are very smart. It's just that heaven hasn't allowed everyone to see everything. After I've talked about a lot of things, you'll know that humans are really just like fish kept in a fish tank, nothing more. Almost everything about you has been defined by certain rules. These rules are not to say that they cannot be changed. The rule of change is actually very simple, which is to follow these rules. Unfortunately, humans do not have a user manual for these rules. Many people don't even know these rules exist, let alone know what these rules really are. So many times, we need to communicate with gods and Buddhas. The biggest advantage of having the heavenly eye is this point. After having the heavenly eye, we no longer blindly believe what is written in books, because we can't be sure who wrote the books, whether they are right or wrong, whether the principles have changed. So, if you want to know the most real situation, we directly go ask a god, or Buddha, which is much more convenient than blindly studying books. At this time, we will also find that many gods and Buddhas are really tirelessly and spare no effort to help everyone benefit sentient beings. Because for them, although changing a person's fate is very difficult, it is all changeable. Let's talk about why changing fate is so difficult. This is because the fate of any one of our lives is determined by the karma of our past 3 lives. But these past 3 lives don't necessarily mean the 3 lives immediately preceding you. It's not certain, that is to say, the specific karma of which 3 lives determines the fate of this life is uncertain. This is also a situation I discovered while being an onmyoji. Sometimes you can even find that the karma of more than 10 past lives has fallen on you in this life, and we ourselves have no way to decide this. Let me give you a simple example to understand. That is to say, the fate of this life is a total collection of the karma of the past 3 lives. Let's do a simple calculation. Suppose the average lifespan of your past several lives is about 50 or 60 years. Because ancient people couldn't live too long. If we take 50 or 60 years as a life, then the total karma of 3 lives together is about 150, 200 years, and this total karma is already very significant. The karma of 150 to 200 years accumulated in this life becomes the keynote of your destiny in this life. If you want to change the destiny you wish to change, don't expect to overturn your entire destiny in a year or simply by doing one thing. So, those who dream of changing their life's destiny by copying a few scriptures, ordering a few talismans, buying a magical instrument, or doing feng shui are all deluding themselves. Of course, for some relatively simple small problems, such as being unlucky for a few years, it is indeed possible to adjust and reverse them in a few months using the correct method. But if it is a lifelong regret, a big problem, expecting to reverse it in a few months or a year or 2 is extremely difficult. It's not that it can't be done, but it's very difficult. So, I collected about 20,000 cases just to prescribe different remedies to help everyone solve this problem. What are these remedies, such as burning paper for ancestors, repaying karmic debts, opening various talismans, and magical instruments, etc.? Regarding magical instruments, sometimes a cup of water can be called a magical instrument. It's not what people think, that all magical instruments must be expensive to be called magical instruments, not necessarily. As long as it is effective, it is called a magical instrument. There are also consecrating God and Buddha statues, tying red strings, performing salvation, etc. These are some of the ways we solve destiny problems. Of course, there are many others, which I won't go into detail here. So, changing fate is not as simple as chanting a scripture or drawing a talisman. It's exactly the same principle as going to the hospital for treatment. First, you have to have your fortune told. You have to investigate. This part is to discover the problems in your fate. That is, what disease you have. You have to know why it is like this. Why are you poor? Why are you rich? Why do you have a serious illness? Why is your lifespan not enough? Why is your mental state not good? Why can't you have children? Why do relationships always fail? This is our problem. Our illness will definitely have a cause. Different diseases have different causes. Don't think that a fever must be a cold. It could be pneumonia, it could be other diseases causing the fever. Many diseases can cause a fever, not necessarily always a cold. When you have a cold, taking cold medicine will cure it. If the fever is not caused by a cold, you cannot take cold medicine to solve the problem. Similarly, if your financial luck is not good, it's not to say that giving you a financial luck talisman can fix your financial luck. You have to see what the reason for your financial luck not being good is. What exactly is the problem? This involves our 3 steps to change fate. The 3 steps to change fate. The first step is to check exactly where the problem is. The second step is to change, which is to come up with corresponding methods to help you change. The third step is cultivation, and the third step is very important. So, after these 3 steps, your fate can be changed. If it's just small bumps and dips, then it's easy to change, and you'll see results immediately. If it's a big problem, a change in the entire life pattern, this is not something that can be solved in 1 or 2 years. So I hope everyone can have enough patience. Why is faith important? Because only with belief and faith will you have patience. Not give up halfway, which is very, very important. Regarding fate, the elements that affect fate, what is blessing? What is karmic debt? What are gods, Buddhas, immortals, ghosts, etc.? We will talk about this later.